my name is Wendy Tirano, and today I am here with Nadia Herrera. We are in Mr. Norman's 4th period dual credit U.S. history class.
Today our topic is how did rapid urban growth in the late 19th and early century influence society and politics? So let's get started.
Urbanization is when a big group of people move to a city and make it more populated, but it has its pros and cons. During the 19th and 20th centuries, industrialization occurred and was a huge change in all of the United States.
Switching from agriculture to manufacturing caused rapid growth of urbanization, which had a huge impact on people and politics.
First up, we're going to be talking about society positives. Rapid urban growth influenced the 19th and 20th centuries by forcing society to evolve. Urbanization caused growth in society. Cars, buses, and boats all increased in manufacturing, and this helped goods and people get to places they needed to be.
Now that so many people have started going to school because of the increase in population, buses needed to be made and improved to transport kids. A picture taken from 1921 named Green Bank Consolidated School shows a bus that was used to transport kids. Behind the bus is a truck filled with kids as well.
Not only were vehicles and easy transportation created, but so was an increase in job opportunities. For example, the picture of Mulberry Street in New York shows many different shops and stores along the street. There are stands with vendors selling things, and it looks like delivery trucks.
Urbanization helped create new jobs for people because there were goods from different places that people immigrated from. Building the places for people to sell was a job, creating the vehicles, selling goods, and transportation of people and items were all jobs created from urbanization.
Next up is society negatives. Although urbanization caused some positive changes, there were some society negatives that came with urbanization as well. One of the major downsides of urbanization that affected society was how sickness spread easily because of overcrowding and unsanitary conditions.
When urbanization was occurring, a journalist and photographer named Jacob Riis wrote and took pictures of how urbanization caused workers and families to be squished and tightly compacted in small rooms because of how desperate people were to work near the city. Each of these rooms or homes where the people were taken in were unclean and looked germ-prone.
Jacob published his 1890 How the Other Half Lives shocked Americans with its raw depictions of urban slums. Here he describes poverty in New York as not knowing the truth of the other side, of people crammed in small rooms in the city of New York, 6 workers in a room smaller than a classroom. The men are seen in small bunk beds and mattresses that each have 2 men that barely fit. This overcrowding can cause unhygienic living lifestyles as well.
In another photo taken by Jacob Riis, a mother is holding a newborn baby in a room the size of a restroom. The floors and walls are dirty, there are rusted tubs, and the mother does not look put together. Unsanitary living areas made diseases and sickness spread and be easily contracted.
Now we're going to be talking about the politics positives. Urbanization wasn't always a bad thing. A positive aspect of it is that it actually led more people to get involved with politics. As we know, millions of immigrants and poor workers moved into cities, and political machines like New York's Tammany Hall, a political organization, helped them.
These groups gave people jobs, housing, and even legal help in exchange for their votes. It wasn't ideal, but it helped people who were moving in and didn't receive help from the government.
Not only that, but urbanization also led to major reform movements. Because cities were so overcrowded, they grew to be dirty and dangerous. People began to push for better housing, cleaner streets, and safer work environments.
The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire was a horrid event where a huge amount of people died because of too many workers, not planned fire escapes, and in such a compact area.
This is where the safer working conditions came in place and was a part of the progressive movement, leading to new laws being created like child labor bans, safer working conditions, and women's suffrage. Next up is politics negatives. Many political machines stole money from the government and rigged elections to stay in power. Instead of helping people, politicians used the money to make themselves rich.
Another downside was that the city growth made political problems worse. The Osage were forced out of their homes by the government because they were in search for fertile lands for jobs.
As urbanization occurred, the government needed somewhere to put all these people. Since the Osage were in the way, the government forced them to move.
The Osage were actually nomadic, so they were spread all over Oklahoma. But when they were forced to move, they ended up being all cramped into one spot.
Although cities were being made, and that was good, everything else around that wasn't city life was crumbling down, which is similar to what occurred to the Osage.
The picture below shows the red, which was where the Osage lived originally. The red outline shows all the places the Osage would travel nomadically. However, the purple area is where they got pushed to. As you can see, there's a big difference between the red and purple. Now we're going to talk about environmental negatives. With cities growing because of urbanization, cities, roads, and transportations are being developed. This was not a good thing for the environment. Now that there were so many buildings, factories, and transportation, pollution became a big problem.
We all know that almost all trees are gone now. And why is that? Well, because of urbanization. There is buildings, skyscrapers, shops, all kinds of structures being made, and we need space for that. As a result of this, deforestation started to occur. Trees were being cut down.
According to the USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, over 13 million hectares of forest land are converted to agriculture, urban land use, and industrial forestry annually.
These forests, rivers, dams, and sky all belong to animals. Urbanization caused stress on the environment, since these animals began losing their homes and experiencing worse living conditions due to oil in rivers and loss of trees.
So now we're going to talk about some environmental positives. Many people coming to the cities is bound to have an impact on the environment. With so many people trying to navigate, roads and cities were constantly being built. This gave people the opportunity to move around easier and more conveniently.
City life in late 19th century, a government website states that with more people coming to cities, new communities known as suburbs began to be built just beyond the city. As the population grew, not only did cities begin to be built, but neighborhoods as well, where many different types of people began to migrate to.
Yes, there was a lot of damage to the environment during this time period, but the creation of new communities being built allowed a diversity of cultures and religions to emerge.
Urban growth also led to more conversations about conservation. People started noticing that pollution and deforestation were real problems, and the word started getting out more. People began to want to help and do something about it. This picture, with the title being The 20th Century Environmental Movement in the U.S., shows people protesting against pollution and overpopulation.
In conclusion, urbanization has negatively and positively influenced America into what it is today.
Whether it helped people see the need to increase laws to protect workers in the future or cause many people to suffer sickness and sadness,
urbanization had a huge impact on how the United States changed society and politics.
That is it for our podcast today.
Thank you for watching.